Today, we're going to shrink way, way down to the microscopic level. We're going to uncover how the tiniest, most overlooked particles, the invisible dust on a shoe or a single fiber from a coat, can end up becoming the star witness in some of the most serious crimes imaginable.
The answer? Pretty much everything. It's kind of a wild paradox when you think about it, isn't it? That something you literally can't even see could be the very thing that puts a killer behind bars. That's the world we're exploring today, the world of microscopic evidence. Okay, let's get right into it.
Every crime scene is absolutely filled with witnesses. Most of them are totally silent, they're microscopic, and they never, ever lie. These are the tiny particles that get transferred anytime two things, or, two people, come into contact with each other.
So what exactly are we talking about here? Well, a microparticle is really just any tiny body, usually smaller than a single millimeter. A good way to think of it is like the physical memory of an event, just a tiny speck of matter that's recorded in interaction.
And this kind of evidence it's everywhere. We're talking about things like stray fibers from clothing, tiny flecks of paint from a car that can pinpoint its exact model, fragments of glass from a broken window, or even specific types of soil and plant pollen that act like a geographical tag. Then you've got gunpowder residue, metal shavings. Honestly, the list just goes on. Each one is a potential clue, a breadcrumb leading right back to the truth.
And this, right here, is the fundamental principle of modern forensics. The location of these particles isn't random at all. It tells a story. By mapping out exactly where they're found, whether it's on a victim, on a suspect, or at the scene, investigators can literally rewind the tape and read the narrative of the crime, step by step.
These silent witnesses don't just say, hey, something happened here. No, they answer very specific and absolutely critical questions that can make or break an entire case. Let's take a look at a few of them.
This is a huge one, especially when a victim is found in one place but was clearly killed somewhere else entirely. So, how do you find that primary crime scene? Well, you look at the clues they brought with them.
And the specificity here is it's incredible. It's not just any old dirt. The type of soil on a boot can be matched to a particular field because of its unique mineral and, get this, its microbial makeup. Unique plant seeds can place someone in a very specific park. Even something as mundane as attic dust has a distinct composition that can prove a suspect was in one specific house and no other. It's a literal geographical fingerprint.
Okay, imagine a hit and run. The driver speeds off, and there are no witnesses. A lot of the time, all that's left behind are these tiny, invisible clues that can be used to build a surprisingly detailed picture of that missing vehicle.
And this is a perfect illustration of how it works. A microscopic chip of paint isn't just one color, right? It has multiple layers of primer and paint that can be matched to the exact make, model, and even year of a car. Glass from a broken headlight? That has a unique chemical signature. And maybe most importantly, fibers from the victim's coat found on the car, well, that creates an undeniable link of contact.
In violent crimes, proving that a physical struggle happened is absolutely essential. It can mean the difference between a murder conviction and a claim of self-defense. Microparticles provide the undeniable proof of that physical contact.
This really comes down to what's known as Locard's exchange principle, a famous idea in forensics that basically states every contact leaves a trace. A suspect's hair or skin cells under the victim's nails is the classic example. But just as powerful is that two-way exchange of fibers. Blue denim from the attacker's jeans on the victim's wool sweater and wool fibers from the sweater back on the jeans. It's the silent testament to direct, forceful contact.
Now, finding this evidence is not as simple as just looking around. It is a meticulous, painstaking hunt for the invisible, and if you make just one mistake, the evidence can be lost forever.
The protocol is incredibly strict. Investigators have to avoid creating even the slightest air current that could blow particles away. They have to protect the whole scene from the elements. And critically, evidence items can never, ever touch, or you'll get cross-contamination. That means fresh gloves, clean tools, and separate packaging for every single item.
The search is also incredibly strategic. Investigators don't just look everywhere. They know where the story is most likely to be told. So in an assault, the victim's hands and fingernails are crucial. For a hit and run, the point of impact on the car is ground zero. For a burglary, it's all about the window frame or the pry bar that was used.
Once a clue is found, its journey is only just beginning. Getting it from the crime scene to the laboratory completely intact is one of the most critical parts of the entire process.
1. That is the most important number in forensic collection. That's how many chances you get to do it right. There are absolutely no do-overs. A gust of wind, a careless touch, the wrong kind of bag, and just like that, the clue that could solve the case is gone. Forever.
And the packaging protocol is just as rigid as the collection itself. You don't just pick up a fiber, you take the entire shirt it's on. Any wet items have to be air-dried to stop mold from destroying the evidence. And everything goes into its own separate paper bag, and I mean never plastic, which traps moisture and causes decay, before being sealed and meticulously labeled.
Once the evidence arrives safely at the lab, the forensic scientist begins their interrogation. They aren't just looking at the particle, they're asking it a series of very specific questions.
And at the lab bench, this is where speculation turns into cold, hard fact. First, what is this stuff? Is it paint, a plant fiber, or something else? Next, do the particles from the suspects and the scene actually come from a common source? Can we prove these two objects, say a car and a coat, actually made contact? And finally, the ultimate question, are there human cells here, and if so, who do they belong to?
So when you put it all together, the meticulous hunt at the scene, the careful journey to the lab, and the intense interrogation under the microscope, you start to see the immense power that's hidden in this invisible world. It really is the microworld in the service of justice.
And as our technology gets better, our ability to hear what these silent witnesses are saying just grows stronger and stronger. Advanced microscopes and new analytical techniques mean that cases that were totally unsolvable maybe 10 years ago are now being closed, all thanks to clues that were there all along, just waiting for us to find them.
So, if there's one thing to really take away from all this, it's that these microscopic traces are so much more than just physical evidence. In cases where victims can no longer speak for themselves, these tiny particles become their voice, telling their story and bringing undeniable facts into the light.
And that leaves us with a final thought. Every place you go, every single person you interact with, you are constantly exchanging these tiny particles. You are a walking, talking crime scene of your own day. So what invisible stories are you carrying with you right now?